To make it express a demonstration, I decided that I will show you a PowerPoint presentation, but I will only briefly will scan it together. So, active learning of English skills. In the traditional methods, all language skills, reading, listening, and speaking, are learned separately. In the patented active learning of English skills, reading, listening, and speaking are learned simultaneously. Traditional methods use conscious memorization of information and belong to passive learning. They are in this part of this learning pyramid known for 60 years. Passive learning does not teach adults how to think in English and speak fluently using intuitive grammar. You may ask why. We have thousands of applied linguists, huge companies, and we still cannot develop a method which will allow adults to think in English? The answer is on this slide. Many linguistic research may turn misleading, and I will give you here is an example. Compare a belief system of two researchers. The first researcher believes adults may learn English as a foreign language as children will do it. 2. Flashcards are efficient for building vocabulary. 3. A foreign language is information to be consciously memorized. 4. Immersion requires one language approach. Translation to the native language is substituted by photos. 5. Compare your pronunciation with the one recorded by a native speaker and memorize it. Now compare the belief system of a second researcher. 1. Adults cannot learn English as children do. Flashcards should be avoided because they reinforce cross-translation into native language. 3. Language skills are trained subconsciously much faster than consciously learned. One language approach is inefficient. Support in the native language is mandatory. Train pronunciation during repetitions of sentences instead of single words. Now, asking which researcher will give misleading results, this one or the previous one, the answer is obvious. The first one, and by the way, all those assumptions are made by Rosetta Stone, and that's why after implementing for 20 years about $100 million into research and development, Rosetta Stone does not have a product which would be leading on the market. Those are assumptions which I made and which resulted in 3 patents and in the development of Android application, which I demonstrate to you in a minute. So the main method or the main tool for active learning of English skills is called comprehensible multimedia input. All those 3 words unfortunately are widely used, so we have to give the definition because all together they bring a new content. Comprehensible, support in the native language is built up in the application. Multimedia, because learner does read the text, listen to the recording, speaks at the same times, and may record his speech in the application. Input, each lesson contains 3 texts, pre-recorded lessons on various topics, any text added by the learner or the teacher, and 3, inspiring poem recorded by native speaker. I stress here, any text could be added by the learner or the teacher and used for simultaneous repetition for comprehensible multimedia input. In comprehensible multimedia input, the learner first imitates. After multiple repetitions, he is able to produce English collocations automatically. Conversations with native speakers in immersion language learning do not have these input characteristics. The Android application with lessons pre-recorded by native speakers was created especially for Chinese adults. All students wearing earphones read the text, listen to the recording, and speak simultaneously. They imitate English sentences and speak in English all the time. So if you have in a class even 20 students, they all use earphones and may speak at the same time, because in the class and after the class and at home and anytime they can use the same Android application, and teacher is not lecturing, is not explaining about the language. He is a coach which helps learners to shift to the new method, to the new subconscious training of English skills. In doing 3 actions simultaneously, the learner's brain is fully engaged in the activity and the cross-translation is turned off automatically. Learners start thinking in English from the very beginning and form direct links between symbols and English words. The learners understand the context and are fully engaged, since support in Mandarin is built in for stress-free training. Support eliminates cross-translation by showing contextual translation for 10 seconds only. The application lets learners share recorded sessions with friends or teachers. 3 types of text are used: pre-recorded lessons and drills. 31 lessons and 11 drills are in this application. And you may also add your own 31 lessons in any text added, and I will demonstrate one text which I added for this demonstration. It's on the topic of hotel management, an inspirational poem. Testing active vocabulary is built in every lesson. Testing is very unique here. It is a patented method of testing active vocabulary, which you probably never seen before. So you will see a word on this screen which is taken either from a lesson or from a group of lessons, depending what you have selected. And you have to say, start speaking anything. You may speak anything from your experience. The main requirement is that you show the meaning of this word which on the screen you understand it. I will demonstrate to you. The word appears on the screen, and each time a separate word appears taken from the lesson, and you have to say inseparable. Technology is always inseparable from the e-learning or mobile learning, because you cannot use technology separately, and so on and so forth. It doesn't matter what you are saying. The most important, then, I can explain and demonstrate to you why all the methods are belong to passive learning and this method belong to active learning. Whatever words appear here, you say. The same method which is used for pre-recorded lessons is also used for lessons which a teacher or learner adds, so on and so forth. This is testing built into every lesson. Priming implicit memory. This is something which you never heard before. It is a patented new feature. The learner observes the words appearing on the screen while relaxing music plays for about 60 seconds. It is subconscious preparation by invoking retention without remembering. Learners recognize new words and transfer them to long-term memory because those words are taken from the lesson and they appear on the screen. I don't know if you hear the music and you see the words and they appear, so you subconsciously record all those words. When they will be seen in the lesson, you have that is called retention without remembering. You have a feeling that you have seen them before. Here are the main features of active learning. I wouldn't read them, just read yourself. I will give 10 seconds for every screen. Can you read it?
Yeah.
And tell me next when you finish reading.
Next. Okay. 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 Okay.
Those are 10 main features of active learning. Now, a few words about my activity as inventor. 20 years ago, people started typing on the Microsoft Natural Keyboard. 300 million keyboards were produced by Microsoft, and the keyboard is licensed to this patent. It is my first patent in the United States. So with Microsoft, I was able to change the way the world types. Now, with help of an educator like you who will understand this intellectual property and will be ready for acquisition and implementation, I want to change the way how the world learns English and any other foreign language, actually. My 3 patents on computer security were bought by intellectual property broker Becard, and this intellectual property contains 3 patents on active learning of foreign languages, 2 issued in the United States, 1 is pending in China. It contains ebook or manual for teachers, and a few Android applications are available for acquisition and immediate implementation in bringing it into the existing business. Versions of Android applications, I want to stress that the version which I will show you now is version number 4. However, the patent is much more comprehensible, and already we know that the next version 5 will include priming implicit memory and fluency test. Version number 6 will include texts written specifically for China. Now I have only a demo with 3 lessons written specifically for China. This version which I demonstrate to you has a generic lessons which are applicable for any country. They are not written specially for China. Version 7 will include a module for creating individual voice recognition program while learning English. Because we have this ability to record all words which a learner sees on the screen, which he repeats, and we can average this data and create a database on the background. So without learners' awareness, we create individual voice recognition system which will work with 98 probably percent accuracy for him, for his pronunciation, because you know that whatever voice recognition exists now in the market, there are hundreds of those apps. They are basically for native speakers. They are not very well working for Chinese speakers. Now, here you see the latest patent, which was issued a few months ago, June 13, 2017. It is United States patents. And the next is the patent pending in China. The next is, you see, this is patent pending in China.
Yeah.
And that's basically all. Now I'm nearly ready to start with the presentation itself. Just I wanted to mention here that Android application, which I will demonstrate to you, is available in China. As of today, it has only 1,100 downloads, but it is how it is seen in China, and all commands and everything are translated into China. Not many downloads, but keep in mind that I have nobody who represents me there. I don't know Chinese. I cannot try to market it, and zero expenditure for marketing. So even for this, I think, and I put it there a few months ago, I think it's still a remarkable result. Here you will also see on my website the testimonials. Here you see 32 articles on this topic which I have written, and which the link is on my website. Here is the online course, and which is available, and here is again Android application on the website. Now I would like to start with Android application, which you see to the right.
Brief instruction. When you install the Language Bridge Technology application on an Android device, it does not include lessons. To download lessons, you will need an internet connection on an Android device. Click on the download button at the bottom of the screen, and a list of available lessons will be displayed. You may select any lesson.
To save time, I don't show everything, but when you understand that it is for self-training, for self-study, it can be used in the class, after the class, with guided learning. For in any, it's very flexible, and it has support. When you first install it, you click on this button, and you see that all lessons which are available, 31 lessons here, and then you see here that every lesson has 11 drills, and you can go from one to another. For demonstration, I will select lesson 15. It's called In the Hotel, and I will miss the word cloud is the same as priming implicit memory. I have explained it to you, and now I will just show you the drill number 1.
Drill 1. Read the text in your native language without pronouncing the words, and try to visualize the story given.
So you see here the lesson, you read it, you will understand it. By the way, even if the teacher knows Chinese, we recommend at a certain stage, of course not for beginners, but most Chinese are not beginners. They can read and write, they cannot speak. We do not recommend to use voice. Now the second drill.
Drill 2. Repeat aloud the recorded text using headphones and speaking simultaneously with the speaker, with a delay of 1 or 2 words, and without stopping the tape. While doing this, follow the English text with your eyes and imagine that you are participating in the situation. Don't pay attention to the details.
Here is the lesson.
Lesson 15.
Lesson 15. In the hotel.
The great advantage of
a hotel is that it is a refuge from home life.
George Bernard Shaw. Hello.
Hello.
My name
My
is
name
Bill
is
Smith.
Bill Smith.
Did you make
Did
a
you make
reservation,
a reservation, sir?
Yes.
Yes.
I booked
I
a
booked
single room
with
with
a
a
view
of the lake.
I will stop here, and just what I want to show you, that if you click on the word room, the translation appears here, but it appears only for 10 seconds. Because if you forgot the word, you can click on it, but you should not remember breakfast and how it would be in Chinese. You visualize it and you work, and does that include breakfast? You repeat the sentence. You work with English all the time, but support is here available, and now you understand why this is for Chinese learners especially. The third drill.
Drill 3. Continue repeating the recorded text simultaneously with the speaker many times until you can do it easily and without omissions. Then do a few more repetitions with your eyes closed, without analyzing your own pronunciation.
It is, I think, a great, genuine invention, because about 70% of your brain energy is used for visualization. And when you close your eyes, it is free. And what it is used for, you really start visualizing what you are saying, what you are speaking. And many, many learners, thousands and thousands of Russian immigrants who were the first who used this technology, they have actually, I didn't know that. They told me that they noticed that after the course, their visualization was improved dramatically and their memory improved. So here is the drill,
Lesson
and
15.
as you see,
In the hotel.
there's nothing on the screen, and you have to repeat
Great
with
advantage
your eyes
of
closed.
hotel
Try to do
is
something.
that
You will see what it
from
does to your visualization. Try a few sentences.
George Bernard Shaw.
Now, one thing I noticed why it is hard for you. And by the way, the Android application tells you if you are wearing earphones or not, because our requirement, all learners must always wear earphones. You never use it for like a background music or something. When you are in earphones, you do not pay attention to your own pronunciation, so you only pay attention what you heard, and then you can pronounce it with closed eyes, and it increases your visualization. Next drill.
Drill 4. Now, while repeating the text after the speaker and without stopping the cassette, write down as many words as you can that come to your mind. Then repeat this drill 3 times and write down the new words each time.
I would not demonstrate this one because I think it's clear, you understand that what you do, just to save time, you are listening, speaking, and typing. And what is interesting, typing is a subconscious process. We type subconsciously always, irrespective of how fast or slow we type. It is still subconscious. And in this way, you develop spelling, you develop automatic typing, and your writing skills improve dramatically. Because the next drill, you compare what is you have written here with the words from the lesson, and you can add always here. Okay? The next drill.
Drill 6. Compose short sentences with the word combinations from Drill 5 and repeat them aloud several times as fast as you can until a whole sentence sounds like one word to you.
Hotel is a refuge from your home, said famous British writer Bernard Shaw, and so on and so forth. My name is Bill Smith, and blah blah blah. If you repeat it many times, you understand that it's not learning. You understand that it is training. And even if you are Chinese and you were thinking in Chinese before and always had to stop and had that problem of talking, there's no problem here because you are not thinking Chinese anymore. It is not possible to do 3 actions and continue thinking. That's why cross-translation is stopped automatically. The next drill.
Drill 7. Surprise drill. Here, you may paste any text from a document or internet to create your own lesson for speech shadowing. You may use this drill for preparation of your homework by typing text. When the text is created, it is automatically transferred to the next drill, drill 8. Here, it could be read aloud by the text-to-voice robot with nearly human quality. You may change the size of the text by clicking on the buttons at the bottom of the screen.
I have selected this especially for you. Trends impacting the hospitality industry. You understand that you can input here any text and use it for simultaneous repetition. I wanted also to show you that if you highlight the word return, it again appears here for 10 seconds. If you highlight this word, it appears here. You understand that even if you don't know and you work with it, but then you can have a translation for visualization, not to remember. It's not flashcards. You visualize and remember English words. But here is something more. If I do this, watch. You have translated the whole paragraph. You can translate the whole lesson which you have added. This is Google. It is written here at the top. Google Translate. Of course, if you if you decide and understand what it can do for you, and you go for this intellectual property acquisition and implementation, of course, the NetEase dictionary, which is used by 500 million Chinese, would have much higher accuracy than Google Translate. The next drill.
Drill 8. Click on the robot button, read, and listen to the voice. Then, do speech shadowing while listening and speaking concurrently with the robot. When a learner completes the repetition without omissions or mistakes, click the record button and read the text. This time, without listening to the robot. When finished recording, click on the stop button, then on the play button to listen to your recording. If not satisfied with your recording, repeat this process. After completing recording,
and of course,
the share button.
You understand that it is in English and in Chinese. So support is always here. Now, we have to click and just listen on the quality, and remember that you have to repeat after the robot. Don't listen to your pronunciation, only listen to the robot voice and repeat.
Impacting the hospitality industry. 1. Catering to millennials. Millennials, those ages 18-34, are
one-man show. Complete. the word blocks given below and act out the scenes using your dominant senses: vision, hearing, taste, etc.
I will just show you how it looks and what it does. So you see those sentences, they are pronounced, and there is a pause. You have to complete it. Okay, did you make a reservation? Yes, I booked a single room, blah blah. You repeat, but after you worked on the text, it's not difficult to do. You understand this. The next drill. Here is a testing, and I will just show that when you click on this button, and this room is too expensive for me. Do you have something cheaper than that? And blah blah blah. Whatever you are talking, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you develop the habit of automatic speech and develop a habit of thinking in English. This testing is built into every lesson. Then the last drill 11.
Drill 11. Bonus drill. Read the poem several times. To translate unknown words into Mandarin, click on the word. Then, do speech shadowing by following the text with your eyes and listening to the recording by clicking on the green play button. Dreamer by Callie O. Haas. I have a dream.
I have a dream.
To live for.
A dream to live
To
for.
die with.
A dream to die
A
with.
dreamer.
I am a dreamer. I want to go to a place. I want to do something. I want to make a mark. I am a dreamer. I don't have money. I know nothing. But I have a dream. I am a dreamer. And of course you understand that you can click on this record button and record it, and when you click on this button you have option to share it with WeChat in China and with any other network possibility. So that is briefly the presentation itself and the technology I covered shortly. I want in conclusion only to stress that Android application by itself does not have a great value. It should be understood that it is the new technology that it brings, and to shift from the old technology to the new one, it's not difficult because I have done it many times. I have trained many teachers, and it takes about 3 or 4 sessions on Skype, and they can understand it because it's much easier to work with this, because you are becoming not a lecturer or creating plans for each lesson or talking. You're a coach, you're a trainer, and it's much easier, and you will be more happy to see the quick results. Here is Hendrik. I can give you, and you may his phone number. You may contact him. He's in China. I've never seen him, but he has tested this technology in his school, and he writes, the biggest difficulty in acquiring a new language is the fact the brain needs to develop a whole new structure for learning the second language, because it is taught instead of being provided. Therefore, natural acquisition is different to teaching a second language. Language bridge technology overcomes this problem by providing the second language in a nearly identical way to that in which the first language was acquired, thereby allowing the original neural system used to acquire the native language to be utilized for acquisition of the second language. Language bridge technology is a major contribution to the efficient way of training English skills and the reason for its unprecedented success. You will find here a number of testimonials. I would like to mention only Dr. Nelly Deutsch. She is very known on internet. She is a mentor to teachers and organizers of many international conferences for educators. And she writes, I can state without reservation that the remarkably effective methodology described in the language bridge technology is unlike any other system which I have encountered in the past. The system had the potential to bring about a quantum change, not only in the way adult students learn English, but also in the expectations applied to the study of English by the millions of highly motivated adult learners around the world. So that is basically all. If you would like to read a little bit more, then you can go to my website and see all those articles. I like this one because the Chinese way, this article, if you click on this, you see the article itself. The Chinese way of teaching equals to flat earth thinking. And I explain and this article what is going on and what has happened with English proficiency in China, that it was actually decreasing lately in spite of billions of dollars invested, and in last year it was slightly improved, but it was on the lowest possible point is 47. It's out of 72 countries measured by English First. So that's basically all, and if you have any questions, I'm ready to discuss and answer.
Yeah, so a few questions. Are you using any speech recognition in this at all?
I have a pause because I have so many answers that I have to choose which answer to give you. First of all,
It's binary, it's a yes or no.
I created and patented a very special way of voice recognition which will be created for every student which completes this course, but I don't use it in the course. Rosetta Stone used it, and it is a complete disaster. You should not use, because to use voice recognition means that it is not subconscious training. It means that you have to think, to compare, and to remember. It's nonsense. Using voice recognition is the explanation for why we have so high a rate of failure in learning language. You should not use voice recognition. More than that, in one of the slides I have stressed, you repeat whole sentences and you repeat without paying attention in subconscious mode. Then, and more than that, I also mentioned that I use special English. Do you know why special English? Because Chinese do not hear all phonemes of English, and first we need special English for them, and then they will first recognize, then imitate, and finally be able to produce. Just to give them that voice recognition pronunciation and teach them to pronounce it, to learn it, it's nonsense.
How much content do you have?
Now, I have mentioned I have 31 lessons and on various topics. Do you see, if you go here, here are all the lessons, and you scroll down. Now, you see here the green mark. It means that this lesson is downloaded. To download, you mark it, and you can download all lessons or those lessons which you need or you like or want to work. When you downloaded all the lessons, you don't need internet anymore, and that is great because it is self-sufficient program, and you may use it even in rural areas and in those areas where there is no internet connection. You can still use it. 31 lessons have about 2,000 words vocabulary, and take into account that you add your own 31 lessons, and that will contain about another 3,000 words of vocabulary. So it's not a matter of vocabulary or vocational training. You can do here both. You train basic learning skills, and what is absolutely remarkable, and I would say unprecedented, that you can use the same application to use for hospitality training.
Yeah. Okay. So in terms of the existing, what's your recommended study pattern? Is it twice a day for 10 minutes each time, or is it what's your recommendation, and how far does the existing content take you? Does it take you for a full year? Does it take you for 6 months?
No, it takes you for the year. We recommend, I am against, and it's again a very wrong, misleading research to do the so-called small bits for learning. It's absolutely unacceptable because brain doesn't work this way. For having a certain sense, it should be from 50 minutes to about 90 minutes. Sometimes with a certain break in a school, it can be more, up to 3 hours. It doesn't matter. What also doesn't matter, which level your students have, because this is a totally new approach. You actually shift them to a new method, and if they had a big vocabulary of passive words or small, it doesn't matter, because it depends on how open they are, how they will do that repetition, and how they will train their ability, their skill. It's like driving a car. You don't think when you speak or think in English. At this stage, my intention is to offer this intellectual property for acquisition and for implementation. It is a rare case when patented, that is new, that is unknown to public technology, is ready for implementation. It can be implemented into existing system, and the transition is, I think you've noticed it, is very easy. So then the company who will be interested in acquiring this intellectual property, it is their responsibility. I can work then as a consultant, but I am not going to do any additional work on this, because I have invested all my money. I was my own investor. Honestly, I have, for 25 years, I have invested $400,000, because this is the fourth generation. We had the first books and cassettes, we had books and tapes, we had PC programs for Russians, for Spanish speakers, we have one for Czech speakers. Now we have now Android applications for Russian speakers and Chinese speakers. So there are so many what was done, that now is just the time to use what is already accomplished. By the way, we had a school in Poland, and my manual, which is on Amazon, it is an e-book, has a special chapter written by the Polish teacher who shares his experience and his surprise of the results which his students had shown after 6 months of using this program.
Right. Have you got any, studies where you do pre-test, post-test control groups, with a statistically valid sample size? Do you have anything written up like that?
David, let me to remind you. My second slide is called Why Linguistic Research Are Misleading. There are no valid research. Rosetta Stone spent about $500 million for research. They did everything possible on earth. They could not describe a method which is good. I don't think any research can do it. You probably in the future can do by using all those students, millions of them, who will start using this system, but not upfront, and not me, inventor, because it has no, I would say, no precedent in the history. No research brought any substantial result. Honestly, even if you ask Google what is the failure rate of learning a foreign language, you cannot find an answer to that question. I can tell you.
I can tell you it's incredibly high.
I can tell you I have found the answer, but it is hidden. And the answer is 95. The former head of Live Mocha gives 98%. It's incredible. So you're talking again about research? Excuse me, no research helps us, and no research will help us. Please, excuse me, David, I'm a bit aggressive, but don't ask about research. It's not applicable in this case. Yes, and you know what? I talked to the current president of Rosetta Stone. His name is John Haas, and he's non-linguist. He was absolutely surprised and amazed by this technology. The only thing is that he said, and it is also understandable, we are not ready. He didn't say no, he didn't say yes, but I have no time to wait for him. And that's why I'm talking to you, and I will continue talking until a big guy comes and understands that you have a jewel. You have to polish it, and anyway, you understand that 1.2 billion people in the world are learning English with the failure rate of 98%. Excuse me, stop it. Stop this insanity, because this is the application which will change the situation. By the way, when you will be working on your thoughts, you might have additional questions, and then you can ask them and to reinforce, and whatever you need, please ask. I also recommend highly to read those articles, because you know what? There's an article on why Duolingo don't work. There's an article why.
I read that one. I have your ebook as well.
Oh, that's great. And then listening comes first, and that's you. You should understand why voice recognition doesn't work. And then you know that flashcards doesn't work. And excuse me, I know your application on Google, and I should say that there's no comparison. We are talking about totally different approaches, and this is much more extensive, much more powerful, and especially about misconceptions. I love this one. I like this one because there are so many misconceptions in learning language that I like this one. If we teach today as we taught yesterday, we rob our children of tomorrow. And that's exactly what is happening now. Thank you very much.
Okay, all right.
Have a great day. Bye.
All right.
Thank you.